Hello, my name is Matthew Leonard, and this is a game I revised for SGD 112. It's called Cops and Cultists. Uh, if you saw the other video before, I have explained this all before. But the thing is, for one of our assignments, it was to change something about one of our previous games. So I chose Cops and Cultists because it's a game that I really like. I thought the structure of it and sort of the overarching gameplay of it was pretty good, but I knew that there were a lot of tweaks that had to be made because there were a lot of aspects of it that were just way too confusing. So I'm just gonna start playing the game and I'll show you guys the changes. So if you remember, the roll cards were about the same. They're exactly the same as last time. The roll cards are sort of who does what. There's obviously the chosen one who cannot die, the cop who's against everybody else, wants the chosen one to die, trying to sort of hide from everyone else, and then the regular cult members. So if you remember, there is the whole aspect of encounter cards. Those are exactly the same as last time as well, because I was super happy with those as sort of the driving force of the game, trying to get sacrifices, tough spots where you don't have sacrifices. So if you see here, the first, right off the bat, the cop is given a heart. He can't sacrifice that. That's the same as last time. The chosen one has a heart. Neither of these people have a heart. So the chosen one is going to submit his heart for a sacrifice. First round goes by. The chosen one has already cleared himself. The chosen one is already a verified cult member. The cop was given a heart. He couldn't do anything about it. This is looking pretty good for the cult. Okay, so again, only one heart. It is somebody who can submit it. So number 10 submits it. And again, remember, this is just we're sort of playing God here for educational purposes. Everybody would be hiding their cards unless they had the heart. But now we know these two are, so now the whole board knows that these two are definitely cult members and not cops. Huh. So now this is interesting because the verified cult member is not going to submit his heart too early on because he wants to see, obviously, if either of these two are willing to submit a heart and be like, yes, I'm definitely part of the cult. The cop can't. This cult member can. So he puts in a heart, and everybody's put in hearts except for this one guy. Clearly, he's the cop. That he just is. Everybody knows that now. But they can't do anything about it because he's not going to. Because in this next round, if you'll remember, there's only one way to get rid of somebody. It's for them to either, or it's the only way for them to be getting rid of is for them to is for themselves to be sacrificed. So they can either sacrifice themselves with obviously the consent of the entire group, or they can be challenged. So now this actually favors, or is favored by, the new system of challenges that I've designed. Because originally, if you'll remember, it had to be within two, or there was like a special circumstance for ties, within twos, the challenger winning, the loser winning. Every single one of those had a different result. But I've sort of simplified that. And now there's only a few conditions. There's either someone plain out wins or someone plain out loses. Someone plain out wins and the other person plain out loses. A tie. You can do the within two thing, but that's like a house rule. It's not advised that you do that. For advanced players only. I'll not be covering that. So in this case, we would want this person knows that he's a chosen one, but he sort of says, hey, I don't really want to these three can sort of huddle, and they can sort of decide who's going to challenge. So because they can do that, they can exclude this guy because he's obviously the cop. They're not going to like be like, oh, you were actually anyway. So that these three can all kind of huddle, leave this guy out of it. This guy can reveal that he's the chosen one to these two without letting the cop know. And they can decide that, okay, so he's 9 has a heart, chosen one has a heart, so 10 is going to step in and challenge the king, or challenge the cop. So now, fun thing is, 10 challenging the cop can make rules that favor this situation for him. So because he knows everybody knows he's just a normal cult member. This is actually very early on in the game to know for sure who the cop is. Actually, knowing who the cop is shouldn't happen often. Usually shouldn't happen this early. So, he can say, okay, so I know I'm expendable, right? So I can say, okay, so I'm going to challenge you, and whoever loses dies. And if we tie, the group just chooses who dies. And because the group obviously is on 10's side here, they'll be like, yep, that's an appropriate challenge. And the cop doesn't have the majority vote, so he can't say, no, that's not fair, I don't want to die. So he can't overrule that. So 10's going to be the first roll here. King is going to be the second roll here. Okay, so 10 wins, and the king reveals that he had a heart, because that's sort of, you have to do that. Even if the person was going to get sacrificed, they have to reveal their card, and then you get to decide. But he reveals that he had a heart. Guy gets sacrificed anyway. Yay, cult wins. And the cult, now normally in the game, because they were within 2, or in the old version of the game, because they were within 2, they couldn't have sacrificed the cop. But because they knew that 10 was expendable, they could put him up to that sort of, I'll challenge you to the death sort of thing, and it paid off, obviously. 10 was kind of reckless. He knew he could sacrifice himself. They made a challenge where the loser was going to die, and then obviously in the case of a tie, they would just kill the cop off. So that was a really interesting way of showing the new challenge. Kind of wish more instances had come up, more instances to use the challenges had come up, but it was a pretty straightforward game. Anyway, thanks for watching.